Today, the first thing I want to talk about is the new big news about remdesivir. This is the drug from Gilead Sciences that actually it inhibits the ability of the RNA to copy itself, the genetic material. And we had Dr. Tony Fauci in the White House today say that the first study that's believable, which is a placebo-controlled trial with a p-value, which means it's highly statistically significant of 0.001, I think it was. So that's believable data. So what did they show? They showed that the time to recover was reduced by about 4 days, which is great news. It means it's going to be less expensive for hospitals and the world once this gets rolled out. The bad news is it didn't affect survival. So really, we're not really going to conquer this thing with remdesivir. It's a start, but we've got a long way to go, actually. We scientists will continue to keep working on other ways to tackle the virus. One of the things that most people are doing is actually they're trying to kill the virus and inhibit it. Whereas what I want to talk about with you today is that there are ways to actually tackle this from a different angle, which is to boost the body's defenses against the virus, which we have, of course, and we lose as we get older. It's one of the main reasons that we have an issue with older people. The other issue is that older people have an overactive immune system, so that their bodies are already hyperinflamed, and then they have this trigger, which is a lot of dead viral material floating around their lungs and in their circulatory systems, in their blood. And elderly people tend to have this what's called cytokine storm, and what that means is that it's actually overreaction. I've just got a message. I can try inviting him. Okay. Let's see if we can invite Ian. No. Doesn't seem to be able to invite him either. Give me 1 second. No. Anyway, so let's keep going until we sort out the technical difficulties. So remdesivir isn't the cure. So what else is there? So there's inhibitors of other parts of the virus. There are proteases we can inhibit. There is the spike protein, which causes the virus to be able to get into the cells. It binds to the ACE2 protein. And we also have drugs that will actually stop the cells from overreacting to the cytokine storm. Actemra is the one that's currently being used. Now, I'm hearing that it does seem to be helpful in some cases, but not all. So again, this is not going to be the cure that we're in need of. So really what we're talking about is still going to be able to, not to be able to return to normal for at least 18 months, possibly longer. The vaccine, even if it does come by the end of the year, and that's if we're optimistic, it's still going to be another few months of safety testing, possibly another six months. We do not want to release a vaccine onto the public that has any chance of toxicity, right? And actually coronaviruses, vaccines against coronavirus have been quite damaging to monkeys previously. So what we need to do is to show that this is safe. So now we're looking at mid-2021, unfortunately. And then to roll this out across the planet, or at least across the US, that's still going to take many months of scale up, even with Bill Gates' generous donation. So what are we looking at? So my prediction is that we're going to be doing social distancing at least for another year or so. Doesn't mean we can't go back to work in cities where this has come down, and states where there hasn't been a lot of infections. We can open up this gradually. But to open up the entire country right now would be insanity, in my view. It actually would be one of the worst things we could do. I tweeted something to the effect of, it's like having a parachute and the parachute's working and we're almost near the ground. We're about 1,000 feet up. I won't, Elon Musk today said, let's free America. That would be like detaching your parachute 1,000 feet from the ground. You'd get to the ground quicker, but in the end, it'd be a lot more pain. Similar to having a Band-Aid. Some countries, they ripped the Band-Aid off. They stayed indoors. They didn't gather at all. And, countries like Australia and parts of Asia have now recovered. San Francisco has done a great job. But there are other areas like Boston and New York where people seem to not be staying indoors as much. And so we're slowly pulling off the Band-Aid, but in the end, it's going to be more painful and give us less freedom in the long run.